Hello again. As you know, I am Eli, the computer guy, and today we're going to be doing an interview with the marketing director of Microduino and talk about their version of the Arduino board. But before we get into that, we do have to talk about our sponsors because our sponsors are what help pay the bills. So we have Veeam, Veeam, free backup for PCs, VMs, and Linux, all at veeam.com. Dev Mountain. Dev Mountain is a 12-week web development, iOS, and UX design bootcamp intended to get you a full-time job in the industry. Learn to code at devmountain.com. INE specializes in network training with hands-on labs, on-site bootcamps, and a focus on delivering the best in online networking courses. INE.com. Schoolie Mitchell. Schoolie Mitchell's purpose is to increase clients' profit by reducing telecom costs using software and processes at no risk. We only share savings. SchoolieMitchell.com. Plixer. With Scrutinizer and flow data, users can determine what traffic is on the network, who is originating the traffic, and who is receiving it. Plixer.com. And finally, Gilware Data Recovery. Gilware's partner programs help computer repair and IT professionals make money by offering data recovery services to their customers. Gilware.com. As I say, I do not care if you thumb up, thumb down, leave a comment, or subscribe, but if you could click on the sponsor links below, that is what helps pay the bills. So with that, let us get into this interview and learn all about Microduino and the whole wonderful new world of STEM education that it opens up. So I'm here with Aloni, with
Hey,
hey the marketing guy for Microduino. So basically, we're going to be talking today. So Microduino is some kind of variation of the Arduino open source hardware products, and so we're going to be talking about that today. Be talking about what Microduino is and what their different projects are. So basically, Aloni. So Microduino contacted me. And then I asked to talk to the CEO, but I guess the CEO is Chinese, and I saw, unfortunately, just with the English level, I thought it would be easier to talk with you. So where are you in the scheme of the company? Are you an actual employee for the company?
yes, full
Okay.
time, salaried the whole shot. I'm next to Ben, our CEO, every day of the week.
Really? Okay. So
Yeah.
then, if you're the marketing person, how did you get involved with Microduino? It seems like a small company. Did they come to you, or was it Monster.com or something?
Honestly, it was a combination of Monster.com
Okay.
plus kind of my entrepreneurial spirit. Before I was full time, I was doing a lot of freelance, mostly in social, just digital marketing has been kind of my background, mainly in tech.
Okay.
I've done a few crowdfunding campaigns in 2013. Actually raised over $1 million on 3 campaigns.
Really?
So I have a little, yeah, and they're all tech oriented too. I did a smartwatch and stuff like that. So I have a little bit of a background in the tech world. They had an ad open for a marketing person.
Yeah.
I was actually working for an agency at the time. Came in with the agency, and then the agency wasn't qualified for to handle everything,
Yeah.
and I was simply the only person. And then next thing we know, I left the agency and started working with Ben full time.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. So then what is the history of Microduino then? From what I could tell, it hasn't been around that long, like 2012 or something?
Yeah, so essentially, Microdrino was created to solve a problem.
Yeah.
So Arduino boards are just huge.
Yeah.
And I'll give you kind of a quick little story. So our CEO, Ben, was tasked with monitoring the temperature of a server room.
Okay.
And it's something that you can do off-site if you create the right hardware for it.
Yeah.
So that's where Arduino came in. And he started working with the boards and he realized, like, with the soldering and all of this just messy stuff, there's so many other things that could be done with that time and that skill set.
Yeah.
And that's how he came up with our first generation module, the Microdrino module,
Yeah. Okay.
where they just take up a lot less space in your build.
Yeah.
So he came up with this, this temperature gauge. It was really cumbersome, and that kind of was his motivation into creating the smaller, pieces.
Yeah.
So our first modules were created with pogo pins,
Okay.
and then we created, which is probably what you've seen, the M cookie line, which is our second generation module.
Yeah.
I actually made sure I brought some to show off. These are the fun, Lego style looking modules that magnetically snap together without any soldering necessary,
Yeah.
and this is how all of the modules actually talk to each other.
Huh, okay.
So it was you know, what I love the most about it is the fact that, Ben, our CEO,
Yeah.
saw a problem and solved it.
Okay.
And because of his solving of the problem, it created an entire new ecosystem, and that's our product.
That's cool. So is this an American? Because it says you're like an international company, but is this an American company, or like when you say international, what does that mean anymore?
Okay, well, I mean, Ben is an American citizen, and he did his college here and has lived here since college.
Okay.
It's been a few years, probably about 10 plus. We have co-founders based in China, as well as a team of over 50 in China.
Wow.
Our manufacturing is also in China. So is much of our R&D as well. So we are an international company. We have representation all over the world, but we are based in the United States.
Oh, okay. So then you're around the Los Angeles area then?
That's correct.
Do you know why they picked the Los Angeles area? I've been talking with a lot of startups in LA, and is there a particular reason you guys are down there?
Well, there's a couple. I mean, for starters, our CEO actually has his family and everybody in Oak Park, which is just north Los Angeles County.
Yeah.
And so our office is over there, and it's convenient to him. But also just Startup Alley. I mean, if you really want to go through the motions, especially if you're looking for just community to participate with, and as a former Bay Area guy of the last tech bubble. I have to tell you, Los Angeles you don't get any better.
Really?
On top, yeah, oh yeah, I mean, on top of just the weather, it's also just the attitude. In the Bay, there's an elitist kind of feeling that I would get in a lot of the meetups and those types of situations. Where in LA, it's really less of that. In San Francisco, there's more of the monsters, I like to call them, and these are like the Twitters, the Facebooks, the big guys who aren't going to pivot their business model at all.
Yeah.
Los Angeles, you don't get that. So, I mean, the guy that you're speaking across from might actually have that idea, who's ready to pivot. But when you're in the Bay, people aren't really willing to pivot as much. And so there's this excitement that you get, at least that I've felt within my realm. Now, I can't really speak about Ben, but I can just tell you the overall environment in Los Angeles is definitely different than, let's say, the Bay or New York or other startup alleys.
Really interesting. How bad is the cost of living? I mean, that's one reason I would never move to the Bay is I just couldn't afford it. Like, how is the cost of living in LA?
Well, okay, so LA, I'm a bit of a lucky guy because I've been in my place for the last 5 years and I'm under rent control.
Okay.
That's one of the beauties of California is when you do get into a situation like that. Sure, but look, rent should be cheaper everywhere on the planet. Los Angeles or not. So really, it's unfortunately it's kind of just part and parcel of the economic environment that we're in today. But if the pay is good and the company's good, the talent's going to come. So, and LA is one of those places that there's a lot of great talent here.
Really, that's interesting. Okay, and then so when we're talking about Microduino as a company, is this a startup? As in they're trying to exit at some point? Is this a business where Microduino will probably be around in 20 years? Like, are they trying to grow, or like what's the idea?
We don't have an exit strategy.
Okay.
I mean, as far as leaving, our exit strategy is building the company.
Yeah.
We're moving into retail with our new product. So there's a lot of excitement kind of moving forward. We are a startup.
Yeah.
We're in our fourth crowdfunding campaign.
Okay.
And actually just woke up this morning to find out that we hit our goal. So bit of excitement, and I'm happy to be going into the office later on today.
Yeah.
But it's just the environment, the joys. It's the beauty of the tech world. That's why we're in it.
Okay, okay. So all of your products right now then are based off of the Arduino platform, right? The Arduino
That's
Open
correct.
Source. Okay.
And they use the Arduino IDE when you're doing code.
Okay. And then so with that, do you have any like intellectual like should anybody be worried about intellectual property issues or anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of
Okay.
at this point. Unfortunately, I'll be straight with you. As far as, you know, I wouldn't be the guy to be able to answer that fully.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that works. So then when we're looking at the Microduinos, because basically this is just an easier way to design and develop Arduino stuff.
hmm
Is the purpose education, prototyping, like production? Would you actually use Microduino to build 1,000 widgets and try to sell them?
No,
No. Okay.
but to create that one so that you could show that off to potential investors, to potential users,
Yeah.
those types of things, 100%.
Okay.
That we're a tool to help you bring your ideas to life. And I know that sounds kind of corny, but
Yeah.
it's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just explaining it to a friend over the weekend. You have an idea and you wanted to put in Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
just add one of our Wi-Fi modules. It's really that simple.
Ah, okay. Okay. Is Microduino compatible with Arduino? Can I take one of your things and shove it onto just a normal Arduino board?
The reason why you can't
Yeah.
is because our boards require no soldering.
Okay.
In order to get the boards to talk to each other and all of that, you have to solder them together.
Yeah. Okay.
And with ours, you don't have to. And that's also another reason why we're pushing so much into STEM education.
Yeah.
It's one less thing that the teachers have to worry about when they're using our modules versus an Arduino module.
Oh, what's wrong with an 8-year-old with a soldering iron?
Um,
Sort
uh,
of.
I think you might want to ask the insurance companies.
There we go. Okay. And then I was looking at your website, and so basically when you've got Arduino boards, you have these things called shields. And so shields are what adds the input outputs, the additional functionality. But when I looked at your website, instead of saying shield, you had sensors and trinkets. Are trinkets shields?
Um, you know, I have to be honest with you. Trinkets. I think it was that might have been a mistake of some sort because trinking or trinkets are like little things and would be kind of additional. But yeah, I'd rather be direct with you and tell you I don't know what they meant by trinkets,
Okay.
but what I can do is show you sensors because
Yeah.
again it's we've got different we've got over 50 sensors, we've got about 50 modules, each of them have
Wow.
their own purpose. What I have to apologize, but I just opened up my board and I have a generation one sensor, so
Okay.
I can explain to you what generation two, the additions that we have. But like
Yeah.
for example, this is an LED sensor.
Ah, okay. Yep.
There's a little light on it.
Yeah.
So our new ones actually have Lego brackets that surround them, so they're
Yeah.
easier to put onto your build.
Okay.
And
Okay.
they're all single size now. They're the same size, so they're all universal with your build as well.
Okay.
Where our previous generation, they were different sizes.
Yeah.
Like this would be another
Okay.
sensor, so it kind of just shows you different. But now we've done a few improvements
Yeah.
with this latest in this latest version of our M Cookie line, and we're actually rather proud.
So then I guess that's one question as you go from version 1 to 2 to 3. Um, is there concern of compatibility? Like when you go to version 3, do you expect that to be backward compatible at all, or will versions be just compatible? Like, so if I'm going to spend, let's say I want to do STEM education, I want to dump $5,000, and then you come out with some new sensor a year from now, will I have to spend another $5,000 for the version 3 line, or do you think that new sensor will work?
No, I mean, in fact, we made sure that our version one and version two are completely compatible. It's
Oh,
better for us in the long run,
okay.
especially since we're pushing as a STEM education tool.
Yeah.
Look, we understand, this is an investment for teachers, and teachers they need to be the millionaires, but unfortunately they're not today.
Yeah.
So we try to do as much as we can. We definitely give out discounts for educators, but we want to make sure that our product grows with students.
Okay.
And that's like, when you look at us versus like some of our competitors,
Yeah.
one of the things that you'll notice is that you can use the same core module throughout your entire build cycle versus, other companies where it's based upon your level of making.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll, especially today, I saw the other day, just even Fisher Price has a programmable hardware tool, which is like a little bug that you can program how it's going to move, down, at forward type of situation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotten to such an extent that now we've entrusted 4 and 5-year-olds to program.
Okay.
But the problem is that when you're done.
Oh, hold on once. I don't know.
No worries.
Weird computer things going on. Okay, now we're back. Yep.
One of the issues is that when you do invest in those technologies,
Yeah.
you make a few $100 or $1,000 investment, and then 2 years later it's done.
Yeah.
Our modules, that doesn't happen.
Okay.
Our modules, you buy an M cookie line set today,
Yeah.
it will grow with you. And when we go into version 3, you're not going to have to worry because it's all going to be compatible. That's our goal.
Okay.
It's really, we don't want teachers to overinvest. We're looking for more. We want teachers to use our modules as part of their curriculum.
Okay.
And so we understand that these modules will have to grow in order to be part of a curriculum.
Okay. So then I was looking at, all your materials. And so one of the curious things, like whenever you're dealing with Arduino and all that, is most of the time you have to do like normal coding, if then else, which a lot of 9-year-olds, that can be a little bit over their head. But it was saying something like you have like some kind of WYSIWYG, some kind of graphical way of being able to program for your stuff.
Sure. Yeah. So we are Scratch compatible, which is Scratch is kind of like the mainstay today of what kids who are coding, what they're learning in school.
Okay.
And then we have our own called Mixly.
Okay.
Which is very similar. They're drop and drag programs.
Yeah.
They just look a little different, but they're essentially the same. And so if someone is a novice in coding, we give them the support to simply, if they know how to copy and paste, they know how to drop and drag.
Yeah. Okay, that works. So with Mixly, could you use that to code for a normal Arduino board if you wanted to?
That's going to be more of a technical question. I don't want to say yay or nay.
Okay, no problem. Then let's talk about your products then. So you have, let's see here. So is it the micro? Wait a minute, I got lost on my own notes.
Okay, no worries. Let me walk you through it so that this way it's you can just follow me through your notes.
There we go. Yeah.
So Microduino is the name of the company. It's also our first generation module. These are the modules without magnetic connections, without Lego brackets. They connect via pogo pins.
Okay. Yeah.
So the next generation we used magnets as opposed to just direct pogo pins because we found that occasionally the pins might bend.
Okay. Yeah.
So we have the magnetic connectors, and that's with the M cookie line. They also have the Lego brackets. That was helpful for potential makers and stuff to use Lego within their builds, and that's why you see the Lego brackets with it.
Okay. So is there any issue with using? I see a lot of people try to use Legos nowadays. There's no weird copyright or anything with using Legos.
Well, that's the. I'm sorry. I have a plane overhead. Do you hear it?
Yeah,
no? Okay,
it's
cool.
fine. Yeah.
Just so good thing I have headphones on. So one of the things is that Lego doesn't have their patents anymore. Their patents ran out.
Really?
Yeah, and this was quite a few years ago. In fact, if you want to see a great story just about how a business pivots and changes their whole strategy, Lego, especially in the early 90s, when they shifted to marketing, to licensing their stuff. So before it was, buy a Lego kit, now it's buy a Star Wars Lego kit. And the thing is that Lego, again, because they don't have copyrights, anybody can make their stuff.
Hmm.
It's just really difficult. It's not easy to make Lego blocks. So we use, Lego compatible building blocks.
Yeah.
They're the same as Lego brand or not, but just a hint for the parents, if you're looking to save a little money, you don't have to buy Lego branded blocks.
Okay, okay, that works. And so, do you figure going forward, are you just going to push the M Cookie line, or do you think you'll have both the Microduino and the M Cookie line going forward?
So the M Cookie line is kind of like our entry, but it also grows with you. The Microduino line of modules are more, I apologize, they're aesthetically more for the maker community, but as far as functionality,
Yeah.
they're actually a little less. Now I'm saying
Really?
this
Huh.
because, yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Okay.
because remember, you have magnets versus pogo pins, you
Yeah.
have Lego brackets versus having to create your own brackets.
Hmm.
So there's going to be a segment of the maker population that's going to want those things. They're going to want to build brackets. They're going to want to, you know, make sure that the pins are there. So
Yeah.
we're always going to have that, but
Okay.
it's not again going to be something that we see, a huge evolution of design
Okay.
coming into it. But the M Cookie line, we really see more of features, especially, like for example, we went from version one, which had, like battery packs that you had to put in your own AA batteries,
Yeah.
to our own now rechargeable battery that's turned also into like a hub. So
Okay.
all the code that you upload goes through that hub. Now it may seem like a small thing, but that's huge as far as the evolution of the product. So when you see things, if we're talking about the future, it's going to be more items like that, improvements on the already, the already established design.
Okay. Okay. So, do you figure with these, would you ever go over and start playing with other hardware like the Raspberry Pis, or are you pretty fixed on Arduino?
Well, we've actually created modules with a Raspberry Pi built in
Oh,
and
okay.
stuff. Yeah, it's just we like to experiment, and we like to, that's the great thing about our business is
Yeah.
that, on top of everything, whether it's the design, I mean, we have to create fun builds every day.
Yeah.
And so that's what our engineers do for most of the day. They create fun things, and through these builds, we pinpoint problems and create solutions.
Oh, okay. Cool. So then your final product, and I guess that's the one your somebody sent me an email about. You have the Itty Bitty City.
Yes.
So what
So
is the Itty Bitty City?
okay, so the Itty Bitty City is an 8-in-1 kit. So we
Okay.
provide 8 different builds,
Yep.
modules, all of the Lego style blocks,
Yeah.
um, everything. I mean, it's a turnkey kit.
Yeah. Okay.
You even have all of the code uploaded onto a thumb drive versus having to get them online. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Okay.
really,
Yeah.
we make it convenient.
Yep.
So the Itty Bitty City is essentially your introduction into the M Cookie ecosystem.
Okay.
It's an 8-in-1 kit so that we can help direct these kids into building stuff, because when they look at a kit like this, it might look nice, but
Yeah.
it doesn't give them direction. And
Yeah.
so that was one of the main reasons why we created the Itty Bitty City in these 8 different projects.
Okay.
So here's the great thing.
Yep.
Once you master all of these, or master one,
Yep.
that's fine.
Yep.
You can pick up another kit and it's all compatible. So
Okay.
you want to add more attributes to your build.
Yeah.
You can either buy them individually or buy them by the kit.
Okay.
And so that's what the Itty Bitty City is. It's the introduction into our ecosystem. But we had to package it so that it was easier to digest for especially parents, because STEM educators, they're going to know what we have.
Yeah.
Makers, they absolutely know what we have. But that parent who really writes the check
Yeah.
and wants to, improve their child's computer science education, their STEM education, there's very few tools out there. And even more so when you look at kind of the entire environment, those tools are built to have to purchase more to stay within their ecosystem.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Like with us, you buy an itty bitty city and that's it. You're not going to put anything from that itty bitty city
Yeah.
aside. You will continue to use it throughout your entire maker career, so to speak.
That's cool. So then you keep talking about, like, you talk about STEM education, but then you talk about parents. And so, I mean, I've been to your website, and obviously you've got the forum and the wiki and all that stuff. But do you have like a package? So if I'm a school teacher and I'm trying to figure out this stuff out, do you have like lessons plans? Do you have any kind of like, here's a package for a professor to understand what's going on?
So we're getting there.
Okay.
So we've had extensive experience in China. We actually have a curriculum that's in place for robotics major at a university. I don't even want to try because my pronunciation is just horrible.
Yeah.
But it's a 2-credit course. We're also working, and also I'm sure you know that it's just different culture. And so even just, you can't even use the same materials a lot of the times because how it's explained versus its execution are starkly different.
Right.
And so we've been working with a lot of educators here in the States
Yep.
who are utilizing the M-Cookie part of their curriculums.
Okay.
So although we don't have things up today,
Yeah.
we do have things in the works where in the next few weeks to months, we're going to have stuff on the site of new builds outside of the itty bitty city that people will be able to use and expand on. And then also we've got some stretch goals as well with our crowdfunding campaign that hopefully we'll be able to meet and be able to actually introduce more builds within the itty bitty city itself.
Okay. So then with the itty bitty city and with the M-Cookie, like for STEM educators, I mean, obviously they wouldn't be buying one kit at a time. They'd be buying 10 or 20. Do you have any, I didn't notice on your website if you had any like, educator packets for like $3,000 or something.
We look at this point just because of the Indiegogo.
Yeah.
You're at a steep discount through the Indiegogo.
Oh, okay.
But we're also open, and if you don't mind, I'll do a quick plug. Feel free to email me, Alon, ALON, at microduino.cc. If you come at me directly and let me know that you're an educator, we can discuss discounts. We give discounts to educators all day long. It's just one part of the site. We are doing rebuild and improving our messaging and stuff like that, and that's one of the things that's on the list. It's just a little lower on the list, but I'm glad that you did ask. Again, Alon, ALON, at microduino.cc. Feel free to email me if you're an educator, and we can discuss getting you guys discounts.
Okay, cool. And then so you keep saying like Kickstarter. So I guess that's one question with Kickstarter.
Or crowdfunding in general. We're currently on Indiegogo right now.
Oh, are you on it? Okay.
We've done 3 Kickstarter campaigns, and this is our first on Indiegogo.
So I guess that would be that's one of the questions I have for everybody. Like, why one versus the other? Especially if you did 3 on Kickstarter, why go over to Indiegogo?
Okay. Well, I like transparency, so I'll be honest with you. Indiegogo was hitting us up prior to, and they were making things like as a corporate office, they were being easy to communicate with. They were being open and transparent. We had an account exec, all of those things. So those are the types of things that help build kind of confidence. Yeah. And so that's why we went into Indiegogo. And come to find out, I mean, look, I've done more Kickstarters than Indiegogo. Okay. But what I do like is just the analytics that Indiegogo offers versus Kickstarter. Really? You do get a few more, at least on their dashboard versus Kickstarter. The pluses on Kickstarter is you get more traffic. I mean, when somebody talks about crowdfunding, the branding has already hit Kickstarter. It's like cotton swabs and Q-tips. Like Johnson & Johnson just took it over, and everybody else is kind of. But Indiegogo still has a very strong base. Their users are there, and their corporate is very accessible.
Okay, that's interesting. So with your crowdfunding then, are you actually using crowdfunding in the traditional sense, like the idea of if you don't get enough funding, you don't create the product, or is it more just a pre-order thing for you?
Well, I mean, we've been lucky to hit our goal every time. So
Yeah.
I can't talk about hypotheticals.
Okay. Yeah.
The truth is there's a couple of ways you can look at a crowdfunding campaign, and I think a lot of the larger companies have kind of taken to this, where it's more of market research. So for a larger company, they might, create a different brand or something like that, and then check out the market research, see how people are kind of reacting to the product, and then decide whether they want to go. Then there's the Pebble kind of approach where they've branded themselves entirely. So it's almost like if they don't go to crowdfunding, something's wrong. And then there's people like ourselves, which are genuinely looking for
Okay.
these funds to go forward. Now we are already in manufacturing with our product. It's a version 2, so we didn't have to retool or do anything crazy
Yeah.
as far as our manufacturing. And since we've already delivered our product, it was easier for us to be able to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's always a strategy, and then also there's a strategy to which platform you want to use, because Indiegogo has its attributes, Kickstarter has its attributes, and then it's really about what your individual strategy is for the long term.
Have you thought about, like, does anybody do both? Are you allowed to do both? Like,
From my understanding, no,
oh, really?
for the
Okay.
same project. But
Yeah.
what you can do is go into, let's say I've seen this where they've gone from one, from Kickstarter into Indiegogo, or do kind of a pre-sale
Okay.
situation,
Yeah.
where it's not necessarily raising funds for a segment of time,
Yeah.
like in a crowdfunding campaign, but they extend it for a longer period of time. I did that with a campaign, and we actually raised an extra like 200 grand on top of the 600 grand that we did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it still took them like 2.5 years, 3 years to deliver the product, which is why I'm not mentioning the name, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, those things happen.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. That's cool. So then, I guess one of the questions that my people will have is, are you folks hiring actually?
We're always hiring.
Yeah.
We're Here's the thing. We're like midway through our introduction in the States. This Indiegogo's really, helping us push. We've got a lot of material overseas that we're really just going in through the motions of, I guess, Americanizing it.
Yeah.
Engineers and marketing people are really who we're looking for. These are, the, they're quintessential pieces in a tech business.
Yeah.
And the great thing about, one of the things about our company is that we make stuff every day, and
Yeah.
we make really cool stuff every day. So it's more than just a job. It's really like, I'm not looking for a marketing person to just, type in a few things and go to an event. And I'm not looking for an engineer who's just, I want makers. I want people with ideas. I want people who are creative
Yeah.
and proactive in their creativity. It's one thing to have an idea. It's another thing to publicize your idea, whether it's to a colleague, to a friend, or actually making the idea.
Yeah.
Ideas mean nothing when there's no action behind them. So if you're looking to join Microduino,
Yeah.
then there's a lot of pluses, but you better be ready to, pull up your socks and really get busy, because it's not just making stuff. It's bigger than that, and that's what we're bringing to the world.
That's cool. So then, I guess one of the final questions then, since you're the marketing person for a company like this, are there any tips and tricks you have for marketing a company like Microduino? Since hardware startups are like the cool, sexy new thing,
Mhm.
like, is there any like trick you found, like back in the day, like AdWords was the new thing, and then like
Sure.
Facebook and social? Have you found like maker fairs? Is there something that's been like, oh my golly, this really sells products if you have a good product?
It's a combination of things. You never put everything into one basket,
Okay.
and with marketing, especially with both the digital and kind of, I guess, traditional, so to speak, marketing techniques, you want to be able to make sure that they're interdisciplinary, meaning that there's some sort of connection between the two. So, for example, I like to do this. If you're going to have a traditional element, let's say you're at a maker fair and you have people there, you want to make sure that there's an online element that they can participate with and kind of hook them back, so to speak. So there's, when if you want to hear from me, like what my kind of, I guess, advice would be for any marketer in the hardware space,
Yeah.
understand that you have both traditional and online assets that both need to be coordinated with each other and used. And so it's not just a matter of sitting behind your computer. It's also a matter of going to events and pulling out your hand and shaking people's hands.
Yeah.
Look, I'm sorry for being this guy. It's a millennial thing. People have been behind their computers for so long. We have trolls. We have all these people who just, they do kind of the bare minimum.
Yeah.
But when you're in front of somebody and there is that kind of interpersonal connection that you need to make, it's important. So my advice is hardware, startup technology, all that fun stuff. It's exciting,
Yeah.
but there's still old school elements that need to take place. Shaking someone's hand, looking them in the eye,
Yeah.
Following up, speaking to somebody on the phone.
Yeah.
I mean, just those little bits are really, so for me, I'm very much an old school guy.
Okay.
I like to have that old school element.
Yeah.
And to me, I see success in that because, again, you can reach out digitally and people have a digital persona,
Yeah.
but when you reach out with humanistically, so to speak, you're going to get the human, because the truth is most people don't know how to lie in person as well as they do on the computer. So, being able to take down that wall,
Yeah.
it's beneficial. So I always say, put a humanistic element into it, no matter how technologically advanced it could be,
Yeah.
and you will get success.
So then what kind of like events do you go to, or do like, is it the maker fairs? Are there other like meetups, or like what have you found is a good place to go?
Well, maker fairs, of course, New York. We're doing one next week with Barnes and Noble. They're having their own kind of maker fairs at each of their locations. I mean, we're doing everything from linking up with Barnes and Noble and participating into those events to Maker Faire community. We were at Maker Faire in Rome a couple weeks ago. And then, of course, there's hackathons. Like we'll be participating with the Georgia Tech one next week. UCLA we're doing a presentation next week at UCLA. We were there previous week looking for talent. We really try to participate and go through as many events as possible, just to show off our product, just to get in people's faces, whether it's presentations or, just, like going to colleges and picking up resumes. Any opportunity we have to talk about our product, we're really up for it.
Okay, cool. And then, so the final question then, because now, like I say, with all these startups, the one thing that you should know becomes the most confusing. So how should somebody buy your product then? Do they do Microduino? Do they do Amazon? Do they do Indiegogo? Like if they're like, hey, this is cool, where would you go to buy it?
Well, I'm always going to be pushing our first and foremost, which is, our current campaign, which is Indiegogo.
Okay.
So the Itty Bitty City, we've got 18 days left from the recording of this. So I'm not sure when you're going to, but, at some point, hopefully it'll be before 18 days. So at least we can get some of that press out. But you can purchase through our website. The truth is that we've kind of stopped everything to allow this Indiegogo campaign to go through. So if you wanted to purchase something now, today, at this moment, do it through the Indiegogo. Within 18 days, our website will be open. We've got a relaunch and a revamp that's currently happening. So that'll take place. And once the Indiegogo finishes, our web store will be back up in full
Yeah.
in full production. So we're, right now our focus is the itty bitty city.
Yeah.
With the itty bitty city, you get version 2
Okay.
kits. You get version 2 product. The stuff that you'll pick up on Amazon right now or through our website will be version 1, which is
Okay.
which
Yeah.
is why another reason. It's not to say that they're bad kits; they're great kits.
Yeah.
But again, the differences are slight. Batteries are AA versus a rechargeable battery. The sensors are multiple sizes versus singular size, like the new itty bitty city.
Okay.
Aside from that, they're basically the same thing. So if you do find one on sale,
Yeah.
pick it up because it'll be worth it. You'll still be able to use it with your new kit.
Okay, that's cool. So final question then. Any thoughts on marketing? Any thoughts on Microduino? Any final thoughts for the people watching this?
I have to tell you, I'm going to be honest. This is my first foray into the maker space and the maker world as far as marketing a product.
Okay.
And one of the things that I have to tell you is I am just amazed. I have such a huge gleeful smile because of the environment and the community,
Yeah.
and how well people are in just making sure that they share. And so it's amazing to be part of it.
Yeah.
And having our product be part of that sharing and part of that is just amazing. And so, for me, I tell your fans to please continue to purchase the M Cookie line so I can continue to have this gleeful smile and be employed, because this is an amazing industry. The transparency, the truth, the beauty that these people have, the projects that they've been making, the passion that they show at every maker fair we go to. It's such a beautiful thing. And you didn't see it. I didn't see it in other hardware startups that I've been a part of, because they didn't have that community of growth. And the thing about the maker community is that everybody wants to share. So everybody, I don't want to say competing, but they're almost competing to make themselves that much better or that bigger of a project, or and open source situations are just beautiful. So to your fans, I hope you see the passion in my face, because I'm filled with an office with people who are just as passionate, and I just hope that you guys will help us continue with this passion and help us bring more products to the public.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for your time today then. It's a good
Thank
conversation.
you. Likewise.
So anybody at home then, it's microduino.cc, not com.cc. And if you go there, you can take a look at the Indiegogo program and all of their different information.
And then just one last plug, if you are an educator, we are giving discounts. Feel free to email me directly, Alon, ALON, at microduino.cc. And, let me know the school that you're at and everything, and let's get you some kits.
Cool. Well, thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah.